Okay, we're going to get into the Nathan of it all for this episode. But before we do that, have you guys noticed that in every episode there's been some kind of life-threatening event? Episode 1, we had the armed robbery. In the second episode, we had Lawrence on the airplane, the extreme turbulence. And then in this episode, we had an earthquake and a possible threat of a tsunami. So I know that has to be intentional, and I'm just trying to figure out what are the writers doing. Before we get into Nathan too, just want to talk about Molly in this episode. Molly was looking fly from her haircut to her bathing suit. And I really appreciated that Molly didn't spend any time in this episode talking about finding true love and all of the old boy with me. That she was really just trying to have some fun, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And then, of course, we see Kelly. Kelly was Kelly as we most often have known her. Funny, cracking jokes, regular Kelly. I don't know if they're ever going to get back to giving us more, but Kelly was Kelly. And along with Kelly being Kelly, Issa was very much Issa. Issa might have been the most awkward in this episode than I've seen her in a long time. And she's awkward in all of the episodes, but the scene with her walking up to Nathan on the beach, it was just like, girl, are you okay? Do we need to give you some meds? But let's talk about what this episode, in my opinion, was really about, which was really about Nathan and his challenges that he had with or has with his bipolar diagnosis. Before I get into this, I just want to say, for the record, I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a therapist. And so any opinions I express about his disorder or, as it relates to the character is strictly that and nothing more. So I don't want to offend anybody who is dealing with a bipolar disorder. And I definitely don't want to come off as if I'm some type of expert about the disease, because I am absolutely not. So this is strictly just commentary based off of the character and my perception from what I know as a lay person. We've known for a while now that the character Nathan is bipolar. We found that out when there were challenges between him and Issa getting to know each other and when they were dating and that type of thing. And that's when we found out that he was bipolar. So in this episode, we get to see a little bit more visibility into his story. They bring in his cousin, who he was living with for a while, and his cousin has a wife and kids. And he, said Nathan would be gone for days. He would come in and out of the house in the middle of the night. He would leave the door unlocked. And so he put Nathan out. And of course, Nathan feels some kind of way about that. He was hurt because he had nowhere else to go. And the cousin put the blame on his wife, and his wife wanted him to do that because she felt that it would be easier if she took the blame, so her husband would not have to, or Nathan would not have to feel like his cousin was the reason that he had to leave their home, when in fact it was Nathan's cousin who made the decision. Now in a show that I saw Issa on, she made the comment about this episode saying that it was kind of messed up for his cousin to do that to him, to put him out and he had nowhere else to go. And I really don't agree with that. I feel like if you feel like the people in your household are in danger from somebody who you're letting stay with you, especially your kids, I feel like you do have to make a hard call. So I understand why his cousin had to put him out. I definitely don't think that the cousin was like just, wrong. Here's a question for us to unpack. If you have a family member who has a mental health condition and wants to live with you because they don't have anywhere else to go, what is your obligation? Are you obligated to take care of this family member no matter what because they are your blood? What should be the rule? I think there isn't a rule. I think circumstances are different. I think it's for everybody to decide what they can handle. From just people I've seen with bipolar disorder specifically, it could be a roller coaster ride. It could be a roller coaster ride. Well, that's why I was kind of shocked when Issa said, like on the after show, that it was kind of messed up what Nathan's cousin did. Every individual has to decide in that situation what can they take on within their household. And the cousin gives Nathan more insight into what really went down. You can tell Nathan is disturbed and that he's hurt. He talks about how, he doesn't know how he could change people's opinion of him. It was clear that he never went back to his cousin and told him that he was actually bipolar and that's what was happening. Now, I don't know if his cousin had known that, if it would have changed the outcome, because the behavior was still the behavior. I really don't know if that would have changed anything, maybe. But I think that moment when he is so vulnerable, Issa also becomes more vulnerable and transparent, and she tells him that she doesn't want to just be friends with him, and that, she just didn't want to look stupid because, she's like always just waiting for the other shoe to drop. When she said that if you've ever experienced any kind of trauma or any kind of deep hurt, you know exactly what she means. Whatever that traumatic experience was, it can put you in a state of fear, a state of where you're not going to take but so many risks. And it can show up like how in this episode where Issa is afraid to really step into another relationship because of how significantly she was hurt. She doesn't trust that it will be okay. Again, if you've experienced any kind of traumatic event, deep hurt, you know exactly what this scene meant. You have felt and you have experienced it. And it's like, I want to step into the joy. I want to take a chance. I want to be happy. I want to enjoy the good things that are happening. But the trauma makes you not trust that it's okay to do that. Because the trauma can wound you in such a way that you feel like as soon as I let go and just live my life in the moment, something fucked up is going to happen to turn my world upside down. And so some resist living fully because of the fear, and it's almost like a way to protect yourself. And the thing about that is you're protecting yourself, but you're also limiting yourself, limiting your experiences. And it's rough, but that scene, I definitely understand that scene and I get it. And maybe I connect to that a little too much, because I'm going to tell you right now, this Issa and Nathan reconnecting thing, I don't want it. I don't want this for Issa. Primarily, I don't want this for Issa because all I see is a lot of instability, and that I just don't want that for Issa, because I feel like she's been through a lot already. And I guess, to be fair, I say that because, of course, Nathan has bipolar disorder, but Nathan also needs some security. And even though Issa may not be bipolar, she's not the most stable chick either when it comes to relationships. So it just kind of feels like neither one of them, Issa nor Nathan, really need to be with each other. It feels like certain disaster to me. So I'd rather they not do this. But I'm also going to assume that they are not giving Nathan this much time in the final season if it doesn't mean anything. So I don't know if whatever happens with Nathan, does it end up lasting, or is it just what happens along the way as Issa makes her way back to Lawrence? Before I close out this video, thumbs up the video, guys. Leave a comment, please. Issa not knowing how to play spades. Girl, let me tell you, I so laughed when it probably was Kelly. When she said nobody's gonna teach you how to play spades at your big age, girl, you know better. You know that is not what we do in this culture. Now you best to go on YouTube, Google some shit, do whatever you need to do. But nobody's finna teach you at the party how to play spades. And you're grown. No ma'am.